Hello, everyone. It's 8:30 in London, where I'm based, but hello to all of you, wherever you are around the world. And may I start by saying happy Kreston Week. I don't know if you've been following the social media, but it was incredibly busy yesterday and so exciting to see all the member firms' initiatives. So thank you. But today we're talking in Kreston Week about the power of purpose. And I'm going to be joined by two panelists who I'm going to introduce in a minute. And I think it's going to be a really great session. So let's get on to what we're going to hear about today. So it's the power of purpose. So I will give you a headline on what is Kreston Global's purpose. Then I'm joined by Wright from BHP, who's going to talk to us about ACCA and the future of the profession. Then I'm going to be joined by Ermela Kenga from Kreston Albania, who's going to be talking about a firm that has started an ESG journey and what does that look like. Then we can have a Q&A. So how can purpose have a positive impact on our firm? And then a few closing remarks. So I think that looks a pretty good agenda to me. And I can see more people have joined us. So welcome. So why don't I start by just reminding you, I'm going to say, of what Kreston Global's purpose is. And we talk about being a purpose-led organization. Funnily enough, I was on a roundtable yesterday organized by Accountancy Age and CFO magazine. And they were talking about organizations attracting talent. And the whole conversation became dominated by you need to be purpose-led, which I thought was interesting. Anyway, let's have a look at the next slide and just look at what is Kreston Global's purpose. I hope you recognize it. It is to connect ambitious and enlightened people from the entrepreneurial business community to promote positive impact around the world. You know what? I really like this. When we first did this exercise, and I'm sure you've all been there, whether it be with a purpose statement or a vision or a value, whatever it is, you can slightly torture yourself with the words, can't you? And think, well, they sound good, but do they mean much? I can truly tell you, in my job, if I could use one word to sum it up, it's connect. Just this morning, before I came on, I was helping a firm in Singapore sort out something in Belize, and I had to go via Mexico and Guatemala. That is what we do. We connect. And the sort of people we connect are people like you. They're ambitious and enlightened. They're your clients. They're from the entrepreneurial business community. And we have framed ourselves to have a positive impact around the world. So that's our purpose. And it really does live. I can truly tell you that. So let's go to the next slide. I don't want to take up too much time because I've got my great panelists to join us. I mean, you have to ask yourself, why have a purpose? What's the point of it? And I think the whole point of it is it really provides a very clear statement on where you are going. And it really helps decision making. And I can, again, tell you truly from a Kreston point of view, we had a situation, it was beginning of last year, where a firm had taken a certain action. And we had to discuss whether that action was in line with what we did. And we simply looked at our purpose statement. And I can tell you our decisions and how we sort of dealt with that firm was very, very clear. So it truly has helped me in making, I believe, the right decisions according to the promise we have made. Also, it's about sort of employee stakeholder alignment. I think particularly employee engagement. We discussed that a lot in my call yesterday, which is what we see is employees and people, real people, are motivated when we feel very connected to organization and when that organization has something that's meaningful. It's actually doing something meaningful in this greater world that we live in. And also, well, that's part of the attracting talent. There are many, many surveys about attracting top talent, especially maybe the younger generations who wish to see that the company has a clear purpose and a positive impact on society. So I think by defining a purpose and being clear about that, it will help you retain high-performing individuals. Let's have just a quick look at the next slide. I mean, why have a purpose? Again, it's about mitigating risks, the positive impacts on society. I think we talk about the younger generations, but I think we're all driven by that. Any organization doesn't exist in a bubble. It doesn't exist, and then there's a world outside. We're all part of that world. We all live in communities. We all have maybe families or other networks behind us. We all have environments around us. So, we are obviously part of a much wider ecosystem. And then finance performance. I think purpose-led organizations simply make more sustainable financial decisions, both in terms of sustainability as ESG, but also sustainability in terms of the company itself. So I think there's just a quick run through. So what does it look like at Kreston Global, you may say? What have we done? Well, we have our own NSI, which is a net society impact strategy. So one thing we have is a carbon reduction strategy. Many of you will know us through our conferences. We have, hundreds of people flying into conferences. Well, that's part of our Connect. But we now are far more mindful about how we're organising them, and lots of things on the ground that you may or may not see, but help reduce our own strategy. We also, and I think this is really exciting, and you might have seen some of this yesterday, Kreston Global now has an expert network that shares ESG knowledge. So this is about not so much Kreston Global's operations, but our member firms and our member firms' clients. And there's a very nice handbook that's been launched that shows 3 stages of the journey that can help a Kreston member firm to take that journey. We're going to hear from Kreston Albania, aren't we, in a minute, who's clearly been on a journey. So I think that's very important. Something I would say is you're very unlikely to do this alone. At Kreston Global, we have needed and have sought out and have partners. Interestingly, Will ACCA is one of our partners. And they've been very, very a powerful partnership for us. So I think a lot of this is done through partnerships. And I know when I look at other Kreston firms who are on this journey, they will all talk about the partnerships being very important. Community, what community is, Kreston Community, our member site, that's all about Connect, isn't it? That's all about connecting experts all over the world. Events, I talked about events. Obviously, we have our global conferences, events like this, but there's a whole lot of Connect going on. I think Kreston Global has never been more connected. I think we may be doing up to 50 online events a year now, as well as the in-person ones. And the whole future thinking. Well, what's really great about my panelists today, Will and Ermela, is that they are part of the Kreston Futures Emerging Talent Group. That's a relatively new group, but a very vibrant group. And this is all about our future thinking. And Kreston Global now has quite a big focus on this, looking at the connected leadership training, and also this emerging talent group. Now, don't miss, there's actually a conference, just take a little note of that. There's a Kreston Futures Emerging Talent Conference on the 9th of November at 2 p.m. UK time online. Please make sure your firm is engaged in that, because this is a very vibrant community. So let's go to the next slide. Oh, there we are. So that was quite a quick run through, because I have spoken about Kreston's purpose before, but what I can tell you is it is genuine. It helps me in my role make good decisions. And I really encourage firms, if you haven't gone on this journey, to do so. It's also very, very enjoyable. So what I will do now is let's go to the next slide. And I'm really delighted to, and I think Will has popped up on the screen. So this is Will Wright. Will's from BHP, which is one of the Kreston UK firms. And Will, you're going to talk to us, I understand, about ACCA and the future of the profession. So over to you.
Yes, thank you, Liza. So yeah, as Liza mentioned, I'm part of the Kreston Futures Emerging Talent Committee. And as part of that, I've met with members of the ACCA as part of the Kreston Partnership. And much of the content of my portion of this presentation comes from the ACCA Global Talent Trends Survey, which was carried out through 2022 and is monikered as the 2023 version. The world has obviously evolved since 2022, but there are several poignant factors that are important in the future of the profession as we head towards 2024 and live and work through the ever-changing world of the 21st century. So next slide, please. So the main focuses of my presentation here are around the challenges over mental health and hybrid working as a means to ease some of those burdens. It's also looking at the recruitment from a wider talent pool and potential future roles within the industry and within our field. So next slide, please. So mental health and the relationship with work. Everybody on this presentation is probably been through some of the mental health issues around work, sleepless nights, worries about meetings and clients, or other variations of such things. But there's a greater perception and understanding of the impact of work on mental health now, as we sit here in 2023. And that is particularly true in the younger generations. So mental health challenges and burnout are endemic. Across the world, it consistently rates in the top 3 work concerns about the future. From ACCA Global Talent Trend Survey, 71% would like more support from their organisations in managing their mental health, rising to 78% of Gen Z individuals. And this in itself can lead to a talent crunch, as one of the key reasons why Gen Z and Gen Y believe accounting is an unappealing field to enter is because of the perception around the stresses and strains of the job. 50% of employees of mid-tier accounting firms don't think their organisation considers employee mental health to be a priority. And that's particularly important given the makeup of the sort of Kreston network and the entities within that. So is hybrid working a solution to some of this? Because younger generations are more likely to be fully office-based, and older generations are more likely to be working remote or fully remotely. And that is, again, coming from the Global Talent Trend Survey. 87% from that of respondents from the survey would like to work remotely at least 1 day a week. But there's leading to my next point, there is a productivity paranoia around working from home and hybrid working. The perception of employees is that they're more productive at home, but the perception of employers is that they are less productive from home. And this is particularly important given the greater mobility of the of staff at this moment. So 52% of Gen Z individuals are looking to move firms within the next 12 months, 78% within the next 2 years. So that the important thing of why does all of this matter? Well, hybrid workers are more satisfied with their employers and what they offer, and they appreciate the flexibility in working, the family-friendly policies, and the non-salary benefits appear to be wider, lead to more satisfaction. And to echo Liza's point around organisations' purpose, hybrid workers appear to buy into the organisation's purpose to a far greater degree than non-hybrid workers. And how it all affects mental health is that it's the silent pandemic that needs addressing. And if we're able to provide any sort of work-life balance and provide a means to execute a pressure valve release on some of these mental health issues, and hybrid work is deemed to be perceived as a means of doing that, then it just seems like an important point to mention. So next slide, please. So yeah, it's important also that we're recruiting from a wider pool of individuals. So the perception of inclusivity is improving. So 70% of respondents from the ACCA Global Talent Trend Survey believe that their organisation has an inclusive culture, but 51% of Gen Z believe that low socio-economic background is a barrier to progression. And this can, and perceptions around this can be an issue. So as I say, not all accountants wear suits. I mean, funnily enough, in that picture, they're all wearing suits, but hey ho. So we need to debunk the myth that all accountants are university educated, wear suits, and are this sort of stereotype that we have of sort of slow moving and and dull, for a want of a better term, because that's just not true. As we know, that there's nuance across our field, and there's so much excitement can be there, and it's not just putting together a P&L and balance sheet, but it's understanding that that perception is what is out there. We at BHP have started to, and have done it for a number of years, recruit from a far younger age. So we're recruiting like between 16 and 18-year-olds, largely 18-year-olds, come into our workforce and come in on apprenticeship schemes. So they're coming straight from school into it. We've also ran subsidised work experience programmes, which included a gap of ages from 14 to 18 years old, where lunches were subsidised, travel was subsidised, and it was to really negate any socioeconomic restrictions. The other part where I've said here old meets new is that we've got a wide span of ages across our firms. And it's important to harness that, as well as harness the technology in the young and tech literate, alongside the older, more technically proficient individuals. Next slide, please. So the future of the profession, here are listed just 5 potential new roles that have kind of come out of some ACCA research, and potential around the insurance advocate, who is essential to strong stewardship of sustainable organizations, the data navigator, who sees the growth of data and the use of it as an analytical tool, the business transformer, who bears in mind the sustainability and uses that as a means to move forward, the digital playmaker, who is a champion of technology and uses that as a means to earn income for their firm. And then the sustainability trailblazer is basically using all of the above and as a means to transform firms around sustainability. So next slide, please. So why does it all matter? So we've got a talent crunch in a strange situation where we're in an inflationary environment where we're looking to manage costs, and our budgets are shrinking, yet the talent marketplace is incredibly tight. So how can we harness all of this? Well, I believe we need to look at the new service lines. So as mentioned, around sustainability and the digital playmaker, stuff like that can lead to new ways of bringing in talent to fill these service lines and new means of gaining income. We need to look at the intergenerational workforce and really use that to our benefit. And we also need to future-proof the firm and the network and take advantage of the Kreston Global network as a whole, because one of the reasons why a lot of people come into the industry is because they like the mobility around moving across regions. And Kreston Global is obviously should be keenly aware of that and keenly attempting to use that to its benefit. So I think the next slide is my final slide, and it's really around postulating what could the accounting career look like in 2030. So next slide, please. So the accountants of the 2030s may skip university and just join straight from school, no debt, and earn at a younger age. They'll utilize software, AI and software advances. Qualifications will become more around software as well as the accounting. There'll be an increased mental health focus and potentially some means of using that as a service line. An accountant's careers will continue to be stable, and we will utilize these new service lines such as ESG, which Ermela will just be about to talk you through. So I believe that is me. So the next slide, please. Thank you very much.
Hello, my name is Ermela and I'm part of Kreston Albania. As of this year, I'm part of Kreston Global ESG Group, and I want to present our starting ESG journey to all of you. Next slide, please. As of this year, Kreston Albania is implementing an ESG strategy with a clear focus on impact we have on people, the environment, and the community. Driven by excellence and a commitment to inherent values, Kreston Albania has embarked on a journey to develop its own ESG strategy from the January 2023. With a leadership philosophy centered on people, the aim is to embrace ESG practices and to make them an integral part of the company's journey towards sustainable development. Our main pillars are our people, our clients, and our community. Next slide, please. I want to highlight that this decision happened just after the conference in Madrid when our partners led the clip, and they believe that this is in coherence with their leadership mindset. It wasn't hard to start this journey because till that moment, Kreston Albania was driven by lead by hard mindset. And from day one, Kreston Albania has always tried to build long-lasting relationship and to be a sustainable entity. Ms. Ljubica Lukace, who is in charge of leading the ESG initiative within the company, state that our lead by hard mindset and the awareness of our impact we have on environment, community, and people made us eager to embrace this strategy. Moreover, we firmly believe that the success of our ESG strategy relies on how it inspires our staff to join the initiatives and to make it part of the culture. Let me say that Ms. Ljubica has done a quite good job to put all the staff together in every activity. Next slide, please. Some of our main objectives are raising awareness in our staff, collaborators, and community, having an ethical, open, and fair approach in all we do, promoting responsible and sustainable thinking, promote equal opportunity, and have a positive impact in our community. We tend to reach this by having an ethical, open, and fair approach in all we do, and we intend to promote responsible and sustainable thinking. Next slide, please. The main pillars of this strategy are rooted in making a meaningful contribution to all the parties by investing in people and being an ESG responsible company. We have creating an ESG group with volunteers from the staff. Every volunteer is part of activity, and they are the voice through the other staff. They tend to transmit the messages through the other people. And let me share a photo with you. This is a photo of the commit in which we talk about activities, we take trainings together, and we discuss about the latest thing related to the ESG. Next slide, please. These are some of our activities. We have done until now the introducing to an ESG-led tagline on our email signature using environmentally friendly stationaries. We are monitoring our waste, water, and electricity consumption and providing a monthly newsletter on well-being called Healthy Thursday. Let me say that this moment of the day is very helpful and the staff enjoy very much reading the newsletter on Healthy Thursday. Other activities include the training of the staff for the ESG for different related topic and engaging them weekly by sharing ESG information, as well as introducing a personal development coaching program for manager level employees. We tend to reach this objective with an experienced neuro coach assigned to our internal continuously professional development programs. Also, we give back to our community. We are very actively contributing to mentorship programs to strengthen startups that are led by women or minorities. We have donated trees to our city in Earth Day and participated in blood donation campaign to raise awareness on the World Thalassemia Day. Another important fact is that our company is made of 80% women who are supported through schemes of hybrid work and special maternity leaves. Another fact is that we pay attention to paid internships. So we have special programs in places to collaborate with local university and regularly hire young people to help them jumpstart their career. The next slide, please. I invite you to watch some of the moments from different activities, such as Healthy Thursday, Growth Mindset, Employee Appreciation Day, team building, and on 22 of April, for the Earth Day, Kreston Albania donated 15 trees to the main park of Tirana, and the ESG committee was there to help planting these trees. The next slide, please. And to close, we believe that the future belongs to a sustainable business. So by sharing our journey, we aim to inspire other businesses to start their own journey and lead their way to a sustainable work. Next slide. Thank you, and please welcome back Ms. Liza Robbins.
Thank you very much, Ermela, and thank you to Will. Both great presentations, and I like them because they had a different focus as well, but they were both incredibly relevant. We don't have a huge amount of time, but there are a couple of questions, if you don't mind, for both of you, in fact. Shall I start? Will, I'm going to start with you with this question. Your presentation was really interesting with the findings of the ACCA, and you touched on a couple of things, but one was clearly this mental health message that I was getting, which is of course a huge issue. And you sort of mentioned it, but could you expand a little more? Why do you feel acknowledging mental health is such an important issue for the accounting profession, if you don't mind? Big question, sorry.
Yes, no, I think really the mental health is such a pervasive point, and everyone is affected by it, be it firsthand personally or secondhand a loved one. And I think within the accounting profession, there are so many tools available to us to counteract or assist mental health challenges. And I believe that coming out of the data of the talent trend survey was a focus around hybrid working, really leading to scores on mental health being so vastly improved. And it's really important for employers to acknowledge that. And one point I thought is, like, is there even a way that this could become a service line in firms, or even a means of recruiting people that leads to we are the accountants around mental health? Someone perhaps far smarter than me would be able to monetize it, but in a positive way. And I think it would lead to better retention of people and hopefully better people as a whole within the profession. So that's kind of why I think it's so important.
I think that's great. I know. So when I started my career, Will, which is 30 years ago now, apparently, to talk about mental health in the office would have been just which is so wrong. We're not different people today, but I think what you're saying is at least it's being acknowledged, and there are tools out there, and we can talk about it, because It affects all of us. I don't think there's anyone out there who hasn't got some experience of a mental health issue, whether it be
No.
a sleep night. I mean, all of us. So, and I like your idea that couldn't a firm get a bit more on the front foot and say we're actually a sort of positive mental health firm.
Yeah, exactly.
What a great thing to say. I'd never thought about that. Thank you. That's a really nice point. So maybe everyone listening could have a think about that in their whole recruitment strategies. So thank you. Well, I think we could probably talk about that for a long time, but I've also Ermela, there's actually a question for you as well. I loved your presentation, and I can remember at the Madrid conference sitting down with your partners, Lubicha being one of them, and there was nothing. They had nothing on the table with regards to this, and look what you have done. Wow, you're a firm that delivers, aren't you? So let's hear what else you do. It's Kreston Week. Are you doing anything else for Kreston Week, may I ask?
Yes, we've been so excited for Kreston Week. For each day, we have a new green challenge. For example, we started on Monday the Walk to Office challenge, and we did that while we were all wearing green. Yesterday, it was Bring Your Plant to the Office, when our in-garden was fully blossomed. Let me say, for the day, we are opting for a zero waste day, aiming to cut our office waste by at least 50%, followed by a green vegan lunch from a local shop on Thursday. And the best is going to happen on Friday, when we are going to hike together with all of the staff, and we are going to clean the environment.
Wow, you've got a really busy program. A really
Yes.
busy program.
Yes, overall, we are very happy to have the opportunity to virtually engage with all Kreston member firms worldwide.
That's really great. Do you know who had to walk the furthest into work? Do you know who had to walk the longest time?
No, because the challenge is open till Friday, when we are going to present the winner.
Well, I'm going to look forward to that on social media, and I'm just going to share something, Ermela. Maybe I could have brought my plant to work. I don't know if you can see it, but it's I don't think you'll be able to see it. But it's a Kreston plant, believe it or not. And it was the first thing. This was the first thing ever given to me by a Kreston member firm, and from Kreston, Romania. And I love my plants. You couldn't see it, but I would have brought it into your work. But I will just give it a water now.
Very nice.
Yeah, it really is a nice plant. I love my Kreston plants. Wow, you have a busy program. Well, unfortunately, we've run out of time. I just want to really thank you both. I don't know if the Kreston community has heard from both of you before, but you're fantastic spokespeople, both for Kreston Global and your firms. And I think that's extremely important. And I hear more and more from the Kreston Futures Emerging Talent Group, and I think you're good ambassadors for it, and I hope you will encourage more people to get involved. We've got the conference coming up as well, so thank you very much. And all I need to ask our listeners to do is, in the chat, I believe you're going to find a link to give us a little bit of feedback about this event and what you would like to happen in the future. So please fill out that feedback, because it's very, very helpful for us. But I think beyond that, I think I just have to thank everybody, particularly our panelists again, who did such a great job. I really enjoyed it. I wish it was longer. That's my feedback. I wish we could have had longer. That's my feedback. But anyway, today's presentations are recorded, and you will receive them via email and also on Kreston Community. But happy Kreston Week, everybody. And I look forward to reading your social media posts soon. Bye, everybody. Bye, Will. Bye, Ermela.
Bye.
Thank you.